Good evening and welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. It is Monday night all over again, and here we are on Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. I am your host, Donna Gray Banks, and tonight our guest is Marlon Reid. He is the author of The Diary of a Changed Man. Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation is brought to you by Eilers Diamonds LLC, Lee's Press, Milton McCulloch, author of Love and Emancipation, Dante Productions, who will feature Janine McAdams, Grammy Award-winning musician at Cinematique on Sunday, August 13th at 2 p.m. And of course, the Fresh Book Festival, which will be held in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach, February 22, 23, 24, in the year of 2024. And it is coming so fast, I can't believe it's August. And so we're getting really excited about registration opening up in September. Hey, maybe by the end of August if we can get our act together. But we're just excited about the future of Fresh in its 13th year. So thank you for everybody who's been there. Thank you to anybody who will come in the new year. We do appreciate that. If you have any questions for Marlon, please leave them in the chat room. This conversation is being recorded. And good evening, Marlon. Thank you for being here on Zoom and on a Fresh Conversation.
Yes, thank you. Hello to everyone and hello to the audience, and thanks for having me. I'm truly excited and grateful.
Grateful is something that we all live by every morning. So thank you for saying that. It is with gratefulness that we all wake up every day, for sure. So I just want you to give me a brief background. I want you to go too deep because of a lot of questions, but kind of where you are right now and just a brief background, please.
Well, of course, my name is Marlon Reid. Married to my beautiful wife for the last 10 years. We've been together for the last 20 years, and our story is together, as far as though, the story that turns into, I like to say, that turns into a testimony. But, just a father to 3 children, and I'm a truck driver. I'm a author of 7 books, screenwriter of three short films, and just motivated by inspiration and as I always say, like to give back to those who are still trapped in my old lifestyle. I'm just blessed to be able to turn my life around. God given me the ability and, trusting in me to turn my life around and to show his glory through my story, which is, going from selling drugs to using drugs to now, as they say, dealing dope. Now I'm giving hope, through Jesus Christ. So
it is. Yeah, thank you. That's, this and that's, I think they call that through the fire. Yeah, Amen. Coming out on the other side, right? Amen. So we're glad to see you on the other side. I want to talk about some of your other entrepreneurial experiences besides your books at this time. We'll get into the books later. Let's talk about your water and your garment companies and how you got involved in those industries. I mean, you just don't wake up one morning and say, I'm going to give out water.
Yeah. The spring water came about meeting a filmmaker here in Philadelphia, and she was just like mentoring me a lot. I never met her in the physical. We just talked through social media. So she just seen me striving, and then one day I was like, "You got water?" And I'm like, "How you do that?" And she was like, "Well, you could be a part of this." And she started schooling me, and I started helping her, me and my wife, for about 6 months. And then she got sick, and she had to back down off of it, but she gave me all the information, and I just searched out for it and went and got everything that I needed to get for the spring waters, the barcodes and everything that I needed to get. And it just came afloat, man. I'm like, man, it's something everyone, need. It's really a need, so I'm just grateful to her and and the information that she gave me and brought me and my wife on to keep it moving, while she had to fall back from it.
Okay, and then the beautiful purses and the shoes, I would have to have oxygen to wear, but I'm sure
Yeah.
just because
Yes.
I'm an older woman, but they're beautiful. And
Oh,
so is that your beautiful wife's imagination with those, or is that a
well,
collaborative effort?
it's really like a collaborative effort. And to piggyback, I got into the shoe business through another filmmaker that I deal with, named Kazar Coleman, Mr. Kazar Coleman. He was doing, we was talking one day, and I was like, man, what kind of shoes is those? Sneakers is those? He's like, man, these my sneakers. Your sneakers. Like, you can do that, you know what I mean? And I'm more of a person that, man, if I see somebody doing something and I like it, man, I go after it. And I just got into it, and I will make the design and run it past my wife, and she'll give me the final yes or no. And man, and come September, be 1 year that we got men's shoes, men's sneakers and children's sneakers, women's shoes and sneakers. Now I got handbags, merchandise, clothes. Um,
Are you able to manufacture those here in the United
so it's
States?
it's just, man, it's been a ride.
Are you able to
Oh, well, the
manufacture?
shoes come.
Go ahead.
Well, they come from a company called Alive Shoes, which is based in Italy. Italy. It's hard for me to say, but
Italy?
yeah, yes.
Okay.
The company is based in Italy, so it's not based over here. But far as though like the clothing, the merch is done over here. But far as though the shoes and the pocketbooks is through that company, which is in Italy.
And so you can go to your website and order those things from your website.
Yes.
Right? That's correct. And what's the website?
www.aliveshoes/brand/Marlon Reid production.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to send me that in a email, and I can put it on the
Yes.
YouTube channel when it goes up. So I said to myself, if you're a movie script writer, I need to watch one. So I watched A Changed Man.
Okay.
And I will say that it's, yeah, it's pretty touching. It's pretty raw, right? I really
Yes.
enjoyed it though, and I think that you have you're going to catapult once you get everything together, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so what made you decide screenwriting is not easy because
No.
you have to take a book and
Yes.
narrow it down to,
Yes.
25 scenes. So tell me how that works.
Man, and I tell everybody, screenwriting, and they be thinking, I said, man, I always, when I get mad, I talk to myself. So, oh man, Marlon, why you do that? I did it because, man, I thought it was the right thing to do. So it was like really, I would say, easy, but not easy, because it's like I would just start writing it, and whatever I write is what I would think a person would say back. So that's how I went about, you know, transforming from author to screenwriting, and I just write, and this will think this conversation. I just think this is what people would say back and forth, and it just turned out and worked for me, that way. It probably be a little different in Hollywood, but
Right.
independent, is learning, and I just progressed with it. And when I gave it to a few people and to read, a few directors, they was like, oh, this is actually, you could film this. And that's when I, because I was just playing with it, but when I gave it to a couple different directors,
Right.
and they was like, yeah, this could be filmed. And I was like, okay, let's go for it. Plus it was about my life. So that was easy. That was the easiest script I wrote. I got another film called Living in the Country, Influenced by, no, that's the book. We Want Justice. And that was more hard because it was my creation.
Mm.
So that was a lot of more challenging. But, just to piggyback off the first one, I just start writing, and will hold a conversation with myself the whole time I'm writing. What I would
Well, we're
think a
gonna keep that
person was
between us and the
thinking
World Wide Web that you just talked to yourself like that.
you know, that's how I wrote it. I would just
Right?
think what a person to say back, like I just ask myself and talk to myself, and I wrote the whole script like that. You
So,
know,
so where did you find your talent? Because that's a tribe. It takes a tribe to do something like that,
yes.
right? Where did you find the talent to do the movie?
The time you say?
The talent and the time.
Oh, oh man, it just came to me because believe it or not, coming up, man, I never really read, first book I really read was the Bible, a full book. I'm talking about a full book, far as though not a children book, but a full grown book. I was really never a reader or a writer, and me just going out spreading the gospel and fighting for crime, here in Philadelphia. Um, that's what just made me just go at it, and because people will always ask me, so that's what just made me motivated and just make time. I never had the talent came through God, just I guess spreading the gospel and just acquitted me with it to try to reach the world with it. That's how I look at it, because I never if I had that talent, I never knew when I was young. It must have poured out of me. I started this journey at the age of 41. I'm 40, 48 now, 47 now, sorry. So my first book came out when I was 41. So yeah, it just came to me.
I think I'm really speaking of how did you put your tribe together to make the movie? You didn't do it by yourself,
Oh,
you know.
how did I put it together?
Yeah, yeah.
Through, through,
I
through
mean, that,
promoting.
everything else is good too, but that particular
Yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah. Through promoting,
Okay.
Like I said, I meet everything through social media, constantly posting. So when I post and gave Kazar one of the the directors, uh, and I liked it, what he was doing, and once I got with him, he introduced me to everything else in the film where I didn't know nothing, still learning, still don't really know nothing, still being taught by him, but just posting through social media is how I
You got your
connected to
cast that way. You did your casting that
every,
way. Everything.
everything through Kazar, with the first film. When I met him, it was he did all the cast, and far as though the people in Philadelphia, I reached out to them. But far as though everyone else you see in the film that's from Baltimore, that's from Virginia, that's from Maryland, that's from New York, it was all through him. So I just watched him, and from there I cast my second and third film.
Here's the thing. I don't know who Kazar is, but what I do know is that he understands that there's enough out here for everybody.
Yeah.
You don't have to hold it, right?
No.
You don't
Right.
have to keep it. You have to
No.
share it. The more you give, the more you'll give back,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
That's
So that's
he's.
wonderful. I mean, I don't know him, but please thank him for me
Oh,
when
I
you see him,
definitely
because
will.
that
I
is
def-
something in our melanated states that we don't do very well.
yes.
Reaching
We
back,
we we
pulling
we
people.
get we become, and that's one of my themes there. See, we become selfish. So when I say I'm showing God's glory through my story, that means I'm showing you, I'm showing the world what he done for me and what he can do for you, not just change my life, but as you say, give me this talent of writing, give me this talent of creating something in my mind and bringing it to life where people can, reality where people can see. So that's the thing, man. I breed on of not being selfish. I tries to give it back, especially to the people that's trapped in my old lifestyle, because I want them to see that this thing worked. Because if they don't see it, they ain't gonna believe it,
Right.
so they see it. So I shows them, and some people take it the wrong way. It's like you trying to boast. It ain't no boasting. I'm showing you the glory of God because of where, you know, me and my wife come from to where we at now. It's like, yo, you can do this too, and God will do it for you. You just got to put a little bit of work in it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you gotta do
You
the
got to put a
work. You
whole lot
gotta
of
do the
work.
work. Yeah.
But 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 my theme is to show His glory through our story, and we ain't being selfish. We showing you that the light shine. God is still in the blessing business.
I don't, I understand the word selfish, but I think most of us, or melanated people as a whole, sometimes are like middle children. They're so afraid that somebody's going to take something, right? Because if
Yeah,
you got older brothers and sisters, they take your
yeah,
stuff all the time. And your
yeah,
younger brothers and sisters take your stuff all the time. So you're just like stuck, right? You try to
yeah.
hold on to what you got. And I
It,
understand that, being a middle child, I really do understand, uh, that you don't want anything taken from you because you have gotten it on your own, and it's releasing it is the hard thing. So I don't know what to call it.
well, sometimes,
I want to call it survival.
yeah, because sometimes we want to be the first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't want to be we or
Yeah.
us. We
Yeah.
want to be,
Yeah.
sometimes we want
Yeah.
to be I and me.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? So we be
Yeah.
wanting to be the first. I'm the first one, to do this, and because it, but like you say, because we in the industry where it will be stolen,
Absolutely
not
will be stolen.
stolen, taken. It
Take
will
it.
be taken,
Yeah.
your idea, if it brought to the wrong, to the
Right.
wrong person,
Mm-hmm.
or the wrong organization or the wrong company. So, in that sense, yeah, let me change the word from selfish to be, it could be just you content on,
Right.
somebody taking your idea and bringing it to life
Because
first.
it definitely is a concern.
Yeah.
And when it happens to you once, I was at a book event and I had met a young lady, took her under my wing, and I said, listen, you can do this. She opened up a bookstore, and then I
Oh,
went to the
wow.
bookstore
Okay.
and she took my logo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So I mean, those
Yeah,
things do. I mean, she got sued, of course,
yeah, yeah,
um, but those things do happen, and so
yeah,
you get tunneled. You're like, oh my
yeah,
God, I'm so afraid that
yeah.
to let it out. But here's the thing: she didn't win. So if it
Mhm.
doesn't belong to you, you're not
Yeah,
gonna win.
yeah, yeah,
Emotionally, physically, whatever, you're just not gonna win. So,
yeah. See,
um,
I ain't gonna throw on this, but just for me, like I told you, if I see somebody doing something I like, I go to them. Yo, how you do
yeah,
that? Will you do that? Because I love to get information from other people to add it with my own, you know. And man, I just if I see something, man, and I like it, I go after. I'm gonna ask the person, look, man, how you do? And if they don't
exactly.
tell you, you gotta respect that. And then you just gotta go out and do harder search information, to 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 get it started. But
And what they don't know is if she had come to me, I would have taken her to my illustrator.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
I know,
I would have
yeah,
taken her to the illustrator and she would have got something that was more hers than mine,
yes,
right?
there you
But
go.
so I do understand some people kind of holding stuff really, really tight. So tell us about your publishing experience. So you started your own publishing company? Everybody here's this.
uh,
How did
not,
that, tell me how that
not
worked?
well. I started. I would say, I call it my publishing company because I
It says
start helping.
published by Marlon Reid
Yeah,
Productions. So yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Production. Yeah, yeah. But it's through Amazon. But
Oh, is it
everything.
okay?
But yeah, it's through Amazon. But I put it like, I just started writing, and I got with a book coach, and she started teaching me a lot of stuff, and then she introduced me to her cousin, which was they both was from North Carolina, the editor, and the editor just taught me. We became, this lady just covered me and showed me so much in this writing world, as far as the author. And she was telling me how you can do this yourself. You can, you independent, because I really didn't know too much about independent, and she taught me everything about it, me and my wife. And so once she showed me everything and I published the first book, man, I mean, it goes through Amazon, but at the same time, I just put my company down there, and it brings me where
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
help people to what I was taught. I help a few people to get their book published. That's why I said my published company, but I do send them through Amazon. But I do it for free.
So why'd you go
I
hardcover?
give it
I
back.
love it, but why'd you go hardcover?
It was something that it was just sent to me. I was on Amazon one day, and they was like, "We got hardcover now." And I'm like, "Well, let me try that," because I try to give it to people in every way possible, through audio, through soft book, through Kindle. You know what I mean? And now when I seen the hard book, I was like, man, I got to get that. And
It's nice.
because I got this testimony, this story that turns into a testimony. I got it every way where a person can't say nothing. Even to now, you can watch, the first half of my life from when I was a child up to 19 in the short film.
Right,
So
right, right.
and now we doing a play next year, a stage play for it, for the whole, up into, in the book till I would turn, I think 41, I think I turned in the book. So yeah, so I just made it hardback because Amazon sent it to me and say they do hardback now. So I
What?
thought it would look nice. And then I was taught through my book coach that readers love hardback more than softback. I don't know if that's true, but
I don't care what it is, as long as it's a book.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah,
really
yeah.
matter.
So that
Most
was the
women like
process.
a book they can just throw in their purse, but this is, it's 5 by 9, so it can still be thrown
Yeah,
in the purse, right?
yeah.
I love it. It's a beautiful hardcover. We don't have Most people don't do
Thank
those
you.
anymore, so it's really nice to get. Tell us about the cover. How many renditions of it did you do?
Well, I took the picture, and now, like I say, my book designer, my designer who designed everything for me, she came up with that. She just I sent her these different um pictures, and next thing you know, she was like, that's the street. I'm like, yeah, that's the street. So she took this from there and put this and put it behind the car, and then when she sent it back to me, she was like, what you think about this? And I'm like, oh my goodness, this night, this gonna make it number one. And I thought the cover was gonna make it a number one bestseller, just the cover. I said people ain't gonna be interested in the story. The cover is gonna
It's a
be the
nice
draw.
cover. It is. It is very
Yeah,
well
but
done.
yeah, my designer, she came up with the whole. I can't take no credit. All I can do is take the credit for taking the picture and holding the Bible, which that came from my guy that take the photographs. He was like, man, you should get in a suit and hold the Bible because of the name of the. So I came up with none of that. I mean, all I did
You're
was
not even
really
taking
just
the credit.
write. Nah, I don't want nobody to see it and say I took it. I didn't come up with the thought of the cover or the picture, or I didn't know nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know nothing. So I was like blessed to have people around me who knew some things about, the indie world of author, being an indie author. I didn't know. All I knew was I was going on the streets spreading the gospel and fighting, against violence. You know what I mean? So that's how the book came about. People kept asking me, well, do you have a book? You're always telling your story. And I'm like, no. And that's how the process. And I
So
was just fortunate to land on people.
let's talk briefly about the other 6 books. So, and tell us what they are real quick.
The second book, which is called One Man Journey is the Next Man's Path. That was more piggybacking off of that story. That was like it just talks about the more of the after I got myself together, you know, I had a radio show called "It's a Way Out," but most important, it's a way to stay out. And that's what that book is about, to show people like you can get out or get off of drugs or stay off of, stay out of jail, but you can get out. But the point is staying out. So it just talks about, all the sacrifices that I had to go through to get to where I needed to get to, just because I accepted Christ and I ain't use no drugs. Now this the real test. I ain't in jail. So this the real test. So that second book was like the test of when I stepped out of jail and the things that I had to do to, for the people that's still trapped. And my third book called Man of Thought. That's an inspiration book for people just going through things as far as though just struggling and, you know, they don't see hope. They
No way
losing,
out. Yeah.
yeah, and they go into depression. So I just wrote that book far as though with a lot of great inspiration to give to those that um just need that extra push. They need that extra word, because words, the tongue is powerful. It's powerful. So they need to hear them words to get them, man, let me get up. Is the count is at 7. We almost at 10. We better get up. And that's what that book about. My fourth book, Living in a Country Influenced by Hate, that was fueled by 2020, everything that happened in 2020.
Yeah.
Um, that book, I was kind of angry. If people read it, they could feel the anger in there. But I also had some great things about our beautiful Black women, our strong, powerful brothers. So it also had great motivation in that book as well, as far as though with what's going on with the police brutality to Black on Black crime, the fatherless homes, and the mothers being both parents. So that book was like just fueled by anger with everything that was going on in 2020. So my fifth book, Living in Country Influenced by Hate Part 2, was just a piggyback off of the first book of I think at that time we was having a lot of mass shootings, and I was just trying to come up with a solution of how can
Mm.
we fight against that.
Mm.
That's what that book mostly about, and there's some inspiration in that book as well. And I always talk about my ministry, Men Do Help Men, so I put that in every book. And my sixth book, The Diary of One Man's Journey, that's just the written script of the film. I told people, I said, people always say, how you write it? And this, now. I said, well, look, I'm going to put it in the book and y'all can see how to write your own script. It ain't that hard, especially not in the independent world. We changing in Hollywood into independent. We doing it our own way. So
Independent wood. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I wrote that script. So I wrote that book as a script. It's the whole film of The Diary of a Changed Man. And my seventh book, Men Do Help Men, which is the ministry based off of 7 words, man. It's to get back order and structure into people's lives. And what helped me was ministry, information, correction, direction, discipline, ministry, and understanding. And them 7 words, man, I believe can really strengthen people if they use it the right way. So I just went about it and put my experience with these 7 words into a book, man, that help keep order and structure in my life, my children's life, my wife's life. And I just believe them 7 words is powerful if you use them. They ain't got to be a certain order, but just use them 7 words. And hey, I'm here. So through them
Yeah. I
words.
mean,
So
the words
that's
are
it.
important, the power of the tongue
Yes. Yes.
is very
So,
important. We have a group called the 12 P's of positivity.
oh,
And,
wow.
and you recite the 12 positive words every day to start
Yes.
your day. And so those things, if you hear it,
Yes.
um, it really does uplift you to know that there are 12 positive things that can happen to you
Yes.
during the
Yes.
day. So let's talk about the Diary of a Changed Man. Now, Um, I know that your grandmother and grandfather were pivotal in your life, but
Mhm.
when you lost your mother, was that the turning point to your street um life, your street life, or
Uh,
had it been coming along, moving like a little train?
I think it was coming when she died, when she passed away in 87. I was 11. It wasn't really till like my I thought my uncle, because you know
Yeah, that's the
he
next
got
question.
kids.
Like,
Yeah, he got kids by my aunt, which is my mother's sister, and he got kids by her, and he also got a kid by my mother, which is me. So when he told, and the whole time I just thought he was my uncle, but when he told me he was my father, and my grandmother used to always say it because she really never liked him. You always call him no good. I'm like, oh, you call Uncle no good. He ain't got to do nothing for me. You always call him. But then when it came out on my mother's funeral, that was a turning point, because I'm like, man, what can happen now? Like, is you my uncle? You serious? I
no,
mean, you
right?
my father?
The
You
secrets that
serious?
we keep, the lies that
Yeah.
we tell.
And
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was like the pushover. I didn't jump into the streets right then. It went 2 years later when I was 13. But from there, it just turned my life, because I had went through so much up until the age of 11. So when he told me that, man, I'm like, my brothers, sisters, they my cousins. It just took me to where it was like it was no return. I became a problem child in school after that,
Right, right.
and then start getting kicked out of schools led me to hanging with the people on the streets. I'm
Was that
respectful in the house.
conversation very casual? Were you in a situation where you could react? Or I mean, I know because I read it, but um, you could react right away, or did you kind of have to go away and absorb it and come back? I mean, how was your reaction to that?
And when he asked me to take the ride on the day of the funeral, after the funeral, when people come back to celebrate the life, and when he told me in the car, I was like, stop playing. I ain't in a mood for playing, man. This, mother passed away, which I really didn't know her, but that still was my mother. So I still had that love. So I'm like, man, my mother passed away. He's like, I'm not playing. So, I was just, when he told me, I was like, well, damn, my grandmother, right. Like, just let me out the car. I was upset with him from that point on. And,
Yeah, yeah.
all the way up until now, we cool, but it never was that uncle nephew relationship as father and son. We was more cooler as uncle and nephew. Once we became father and son, it was like, I really, for a long time, until I became a man, to understand my mother life, because I didn't understand her neither. I'm like, all these men out here, so
You don't know
when
how that relationship developed, right? So we can't put the
I
onus.
do, I
Oh, you do.
do,
Okay.
I do. I just think that's their story.
Right. Exactly.
So I didn't put it in the book. But once I became grown and went through her shoes, because my mother was, got caught up as an addict, and she passed away. Fortunately, she didn't get out of it like I did. She died at the age of 28. But once I lived her shoes, I understood her life. And then once I became a mature man, um, I understood him as a man.
Tell
It
us
took
about your
time.
tell us about your grandparents. They had to be
The
magnificent.
greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Are
They
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 still
were
with
good.
us or no?
No, they both passed away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grandfather passed away in 98. My grandmother passed away 2016. But they was great. They out of all the stuff I had going on, man, they made me feel like that's none of that stuff mattered. Like, because we here. They was my mother and father. Even though I knew
Right.
my
Right.
mother, but they was, you know, like when my grandmother passed away, I was more hurt than when my mother passed away because
Of
I
course.
knew her more, so they were just magnificent. They took me and my brother in, my mother had another child younger than me, and they took us in and they raised us like we was their own, man.
Yeah.
Like my brother didn't come until he was 5, but I
I could
came the
hear her
day.
saying, not my Marlon. He wouldn't do that.
Yeah. And she spoiled me. She spoiled me.
Not my Marlon. He wouldn't do that.
She spoiled me
Yeah.
up until I turned 13, up until I
Yeah.
got locked up. Because she
Right.
used to always say, "Don't never, baby, you get locked up. I'm telling you, I'm
I'm
gonna cut
done.
you
I'm
off."
done. Yeah.
But oh man, that was just my world. But the greatest thing for me with her was I got a chance to
Be
show her my
loved.
life turned around before she passed away.
And to be
So
loved.
yeah. So a lot of times she thought she used to, you know, bash herself because she thought the turning out of my lifestyle was due to her spoiling me,
Yeah.
So I got a chance to show her, a couple years, for a few years, that, what I mean, I can put a smile on her face with, all
Yeah.
the coming into the man God created me to be. And I
Right.
got a chance to show her that. I got a chance to show her to get married. I got a chance to bring her to church. I got a chance to help her get baptized. I got a chance to do a lot of things, and of course my brother too, turned his life around. He wasn't on drugs, but just in the streets.
Yeah.
And we just
Wow.
got that chance to put that smile on her face, to be with, what people used to call us thugs and all that. We got a chance to show her that we men. We the men that she birthed, that she created
I
our
try to
household.
tell people that everybody's not a jaguar. We don't turn the corner at the same time.
Yeah,
Some of us turn
yeah,
fast. Some of
yeah.
us are 18 wheeler. We got to back
Yeah.
up and
And
turn a
my
little bit,
grandfather,
back up and turn a little bit.
my grandfather, he just instilled a lot of stuff in me. He was just old enough where he really couldn't, you know, do certain things once we got certain ages because of his
Mm.
age. But he said to everybody say I'm like my grandfather.
He
So
was a quiet storm. He was a
yeah,
quiet
yeah.
storm.
So I'm just grateful
Yeah. Yeah.
to have that title through people that know him and
Yeah.
family members.
I just finished my fourth novel, and my
Oh,
street
congratulations.
is Mulford Street, and your street is Myrtlewood Street. So tell us
Myrtle.
about Myrtlewood.
Oh man, Myrtlewood is whew. Now I was dealing with somebody before my wife, and she told me, she said, your problem, because I used to get on drugs and get off. I used to only get high for 3 4 months, and I get off because I was selling drugs. So I would get off, but I would come back to Myrtlewood Street, and that would be my downfall. And she used to tell me the drugs is not your downfall. It's Myrtlewood Street. Once you get off of Myrtlewood, she said, you're going to excel to something greater. And I never learned that until I turned 30. And Myrtlewood was just what you see on the a lot of these bad community type of films, or even if you grew up or go through
Yeah.
these neighborhoods, that's what Myrtlewood was.
That's like a
Drugs.
moth to a flame. Well, you know it's hot.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know you shouldn't be there. You
It was
know?
it was it
Yeah.
was it was my life though.
Yeah.
I gave everything. I gave everything to Myrtlewood Street. I never looked at it as, a bad place until I really, surrendered to God. And then once
Right.
I got the vision to see what it was, but Myrtlewood, man, I loved it, Myrtlewood. I mean, every time I come from wherever, it would draw me back to that street. And then she
Yeah.
used to always tell me, like, once you get away from this street, you gonna excel.
I mean,
But
Myrtlewood was like Cheers, right? Everybody knows your name.
a
You know what I mean?
stayed.
Everybody welcomes you back,
Yeah, it
give you
was.
free drugs. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. It was man.
Everybody knows your name, right? Yeah, I understand.
It was something, man. And then I think I wrote a letter to it in my book, because
Yeah.
uh, I just wanted people to know, man. a lot of times, man, it be the surroundings. It really, that saying is really true, man. I loved it, that surrounded so much. Everything that went on, I didn't even want to go outside of that block because everything that went
This
on,
energy, you felt protected.
yeah,
Everybody
every,
knew you. You know, you were kind of like the big deal. You know, all that.
yeah,
Yeah,
everything that went on, on Murderwood, man, it was like, man, we was a whole different world through our whole neighborhood. You know,
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
come to Murderwood. You come to Murderwood, you liable to get stuck for 20 years. And you know, and me being
Like New
unmature.
Jack City.
Yeah, basically, yeah. With me not being mature, um, I grasped to that, you
Yeah,
know, and
I understand.
it was fun in the beginning, but once it turned into an addiction, that's when,
It wasn't fun
you know, the
anymore.
fun went out the window and it just became a lifestyle,
Yeah,
you know. But my wife used to be with me, but I used to always tell her like, this ain't me. This ain't, because my last run turned to a year. I
mm,
just used to get high for 3, 4 months, but that last run I started smoking a straight crack pipe or whatever you want to call it. I just used to snort and lace. But then once I started smoking the pipe that last year, and I seen how it drugged me down, and I told my wife, I said, man, I can't do this. I said, please, Lord, take me somewhere. And I went right outside and got locked up, and my life changed right in front of her. I said, I don't know about her, but Lord, this ain't me. I getting high for a year straight. Oh my God. I said, God, help me. Put me somewhere where I can really get
yeah,
myself together. And I
yeah.
went right outside and got locked up within 20 minutes. And
Did you actually go
just
to prison or just to jail? Did you do a year and a day, or
prison.
you
I
went
had
to
to go to
prison?
prison because I had so many
Yes,
other warrants.
priors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had warrants. They was already looking for me.
yeah,
So, but that was the greatest day of my life,
yeah,
you know, at that time.
yeah.
You know, that was the
Exactly.
great October 25th, 2005.
Wow.
That was the greatest day. And then I got a chance to come home and get my wife out of that lifestyle. It took some time, but we got her out, and she been out, you know, I've been
Ever
clean for
since.
18 years and she been clean now for about 12. So, you know, I'm not saying I did it, but God worked through me to be
To get
able
to
to
her, right?
come
Yeah, you
home.
have. Some people need a conduit. You were the conduit.
Yeah,
Fun. Yeah.
and pour her out. So
Hmm.
I got a book coming with me and her, from drugs to love. You
Yeah.
know, and, that's gonna be, because we knew each other since J High, since about six
Right.
years old. We knew each other all our lives. So you know, for us to be together the way we are, it was just, we knew each other. You know, through
Yeah.
school,
Everything.
elementary. So you know,
Mhm.
that's is people say y'all got a crazy story, but a story of many people will want, you know, as
Right.
far as, you know, knowing each other and growing up and
And
in the same.
changing and
Yeah,
progressing. Right. Exactly.
yeah. Because like I
So,
tell people, it ain't all about me. It's about her too.
right.
My wife just don't like this the spotlight. I could get her to come, she ain't gonna come. You know what I mean? She
She's
may
not
come
gonna
and
get.
she may come and hear her voice, but she ain't coming on no screen. She don't
Yeah.
she say you do all that. That's you.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
not
but
for
I tell
everybody.
people,
It's not for everybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
I tell people it's a two people story, because um we together, you know, and it makes us stronger. A lot of
Even in
people
the
feel
making of a
it's,
movie, Marlon, the people in front of the camera are not the
yeah,
people making the money.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's the people behind the camera that are
yeah,
making the money,
yeah,
and that are
that's
making
her.
things work. So she's
That's
where she's
her.
supposed to be.
That's her, because everything I do, I bring
Yeah,
it past her to get
yeah,
a okay or not.
yeah, yeah,
Even with the writing, the
everything.
designing,
Hmm.
or a decision I'm making to do something new, I'll be like, you
Hmm.
know, do you think a lot of things she turned down that I turned down because of, you know, her insight of, nah, you know, your plate either too full or that ain't gonna work for you, you
Hmm.
know. So I'm just grateful,
Nothing
you
wrong
know.
with a woman's intuition, let me tell you. It'll keep you.
Yeah,
It will keep
yeah.
you. And so, this time is running out. I can't believe it's 8:51. So let's talk about men do help. men, your
Yeah.
ministry. Tell me how that started.
Men do help men. Like I said, man, like the shirt I got on right here, men do help men was
You have to
something.
stand up for us to see because you.
Okay, let me see.
Here you go.
Men do help men, which
Oh,
is
nice.
two
Okay.
hands shaking. And I, I I started that with always saying I want to get back to those trapped in my old lifestyle. So when I used to go, I haven't been out on the street as much as I used to the last 2, 3 years, but prior when I did used to go, I used to just always wanted to give people something because I know people easy to come out of jail, they go back. People get off drugs, they go back. People come out of depression, they go back. I got an uncle deal with depression. He go back constantly, and I said, man, I want to write something that can try to help this, show people that I dealt with all these things and look at me now, you know. So that's when I said, man, I'm coming up with Men Do Help Men. And I came up with them words. Once again, ministry, correction, direction,
Mhm.
discipline, understanding, information, and vision. And those things just help me so much to where it's like I gotta help the youth because
Right.
if I could grab the youth and catch them while they in their younger years and let them know they don't have to go through that, then you know that's a positive plus because whatever which way the youth go, that's our future. They the
Absolutely.
future. They the next
Absolutely.
president, the next lawyer, the next criminal, you know, the next whatever. But
Children are
if,
our
if
future.
yeah, so if I can attack them as well and show them I already did it for them, then man, I know our future is bright. So the ministry is just to put order and structure. It ain't gotta be somebody that you know been in jail, like I say, to help give children order and structure. You know, I give it to my two daughters. My two daughters by my wife and my son. He 25 outside of my marriage, but I give them that book and structure because you don't have to be on drugs for men to
Yeah.
help men. You don't have to be a man. You know this is for men, women, and children. You know, and we just it's just something that I think that can help everyone around the world.
How is it that you challenged yourself to be a father when you really didn't have a father figure? How
Uh
did that, how did that, how was that challenge? Especially with girls.
yeah. Well, with my son first because you know for first couple years, he seen me dibbling dabbling, you know, in and out of, the drug world. And
Right.
and when I got locked up, man, I'm like, you know, I really wasn't a father.
Yeah.
I wasn't father because I'm like, his mother is doing everything, and I don't want him to follow my footsteps. You know,
Right.
my blueprint. This ain't the blueprint. So I said, I gotta learn. I said, plus my father wasn't, it rubbed off on me, you know, with him for a little bit, you know, and I'm like, once I sat down and got locked up the last time, I've been locked up a few times, but the last time I went, it just changed once I surrendered to God
Mhm.
and God knew I was serious. I mean, it opened my eyes up to man, like it starts with him. If I'm talking about saving the youth, I got to start with him. And in order to start with him, I got to be a father, I got to be a leader. So my wife was pregnant when I went to jail. So by the time I come home, my daughter was almost 2, my oldest daughter. So, and I'm like, I vowed that she'll never see who I
Right.
used to be. And she
Right.
could read it or see it on the screen, but she'll never see it in the physical. And that just that just helped me, you know, to be a father and just start, you know, getting around. I got around a bunch of good men at church, and good brothers on the street that was doing leadership, that was being household, that was being husbands, that was being fathers, and I learned from them. I just, you know, like I tell you, I would study people, and that's what I've done to be a father. You know, I had to be taught to be a father, same way I had to be taught to
Right.
be a husband.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I never was a husband before. I mean, I was faithful enough to see it in my household with my grandparents,
Oh,
but
absolutely. Yeah.
I had to be taught to be a husband, the first, we was together 10 years, but that wasn't husband. That was just boyfriend, girlfriend, baby father, baby mother.
Right.
So once we became I do, I had to learn how to be a husband. So once again, I was fortunate to be around the right group of men that was all husbands. And
Mm.
I just watched them at church and watched some of the guys on my job, and they just taught me. I would study somebody real fast and add it with my own. It ain't about listening. It ain't about wanting to be like you, but it's about wanting to be what you do. If it's positive.
Imitation is the most positive form of flattery. I'm
Man,
just
people
saying.
don't know, man. I would study a person real fast.
Yeah,
If it's positive,
if
I
it's
would study a
positive.
person
Hmm.
real fast. So, like I say, I was taught to be a father and a husband, and man, I just think I turned out to be, to do a good job, man, because I'm still here being a father in the same household,
Right,
because it's hard to 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 stay in a household these days.
right.
Marriages be under attack. So no matter what, the situations, I wanted my children to see that they gonna grow up with a mother and a father, a husband and wife. I'm gonna give them structure of, you know, of a man. So that's what this. I was just grateful for them, man. I think
Children
if I
change
ain't
you. They do.
yeah, I was gonna say if I don't have the
Mhm.
kids, I would have still been, but it would have just been it probably would have been different.
I tell my son all the time, you are the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yes,
Because
yes,
I learned to stop, not think about myself all the time. I had somebody else to think about, to
yeah,
care about, and to make sure that
yeah,
their life was better. Right. And so, yeah,
yeah.
children do
And a lot
change.
of times
Yeah.
it's a lot of times, like I say, we get taught. Like my
Yeah.
wife, she got older children outside of the marriage. She got 3 children outside the marriage that her mother raised them, because she
Right.
was running the streets. So, and I told her, I said, man, well, we're gonna raise these two. You understand what I'm saying? My son and outside of marriage and your other 3 children outside of marriage, you know what I mean? We're gonna show them that we can be
Hold it
what we
down.
should have been for them, we're gonna be for these two here, and
Yes.
that's what we got a chance to do. Now one's 17 and the youngest one is 12. So,
It's
we
wonderful because God is an author of a second chance.
yeah, yeah, most definitely,
Most definitely. Yeah.
and they understand. At first they
Hmm.
didn't,
Yeah.
but you tell the children, like, you got to come to understand, like, I don't love them more than you. They just live with me, or I'm in a better position from when they was 12 and when you was 12, or when you was 5 and they was 5.
Right.
I'm in a better position. I'm in a different mind state, but it's no different with the love. It's just I'm able to be physically here versus to there. So now they understand, at first they look at, that's kids. They look, y'all love them more than we loved it.
Look at
But
her tennis
as
shoes.
yeah, but as they grow and
Yeah.
understand,
Yeah.
they understand life to where, you know, even our children is happy to see where we both at.
It's amazing the journeys that we take. I love that. And so I'm going to ask you now, what's next for Marlon?
Oh man, what's next for me, man? Like I said, I'm doing so much. I'm, doing the shoe design, the clothes, the books, the filmmaking, the water. Oh man, oh yeah, I'm getting into juice, and I get a chance to tell people my design, and for my logo is MRP's The Future. That's the name of the water. That's the name of the design of the shoes and the merch. But we getting into to juice, coffee, potato chips.
All
I'm
right.
turning this really, just breading out, and just next for me as well. and for us, it's just to continue to be an inspiration to people and let them
Yeah.
know, man, that you can do it, man. You know, that's what next for us. Whatever God bring our way, man, you know, that's fits for us to do, we gonna do. But my wife, she'll slow me down because I'll put everything on my plate. You
Everything on
know,
a train.
I'll try to be a chair maker all at once, and she'd be like, "You ain't even focused with the shoe. You ain't even accomplished the shoe selling the shoes. You got you doing too much. Slow down." So whatever come my way that um God allowed me to do, man. I just try to take advantage of all opportunities. I
So
really
we
do.
ask each of our guests for a pearl of wisdom. You want to give us one now?
Oh, what?
A pearl of wisdom.
Oh man. Man, the wisdom that I have for people, man. Never give hope, never lose hope.
Mm,
Continue in your faith, continue your journey, don't deviate. Um, what it look like now ain't gonna look like that tomorrow. You know, if you stay on your game plan and get a strategy. That's my
mm.
slogan. Get a strategy and execute it through your work. Uh,
Execution.
uh,
Yes.
execute it through your work
Yeah.
ethic. You know,
Yeah.
I post that every day. Get a strategy and execute it through your work ethics. So, man, and another thing, and I know y'all hear me say I do a lot, but don't put too much on your plate.
Yeah.
Um, take it one step at a time, stay in faith, and believe that, you know, if God done it for you see all these celebrities, or even not just celebrities, people in your neighborhood, good people. If God doing it for them, God gotta do it for you, man. You just gotta believe, and you gotta put the work in. You know, this don't happen overnight, but
Yeah.
the start can happen overnight. You
Yeah.
remember that. Don't happen overnight, but the
Yeah.
start
No.
can happen overnight, because the start is the most important thing. You know, so remember, and to all the young kids, I don't want to keep going. To all the young kids, I always tell people to listen. I know the college degrees and all that, and the high school and all that is the best, you know. But listen, the trade schools is the best and all that.
Yes.
But if you don't get that diploma, I'm gonna tell you now, that diploma, even at elementary school, is the most strongest paper, the most strongest graduate. Because if you don't start that, you can't start this. So for
Mm-mm.
all you high schoolers, if you don't get that paper, they try to make it the weakest, but when you don't have nothing else, it's the strongest.
Right.
Without that, you can't do nothing. So remember, graduate. Education is key. Graduate
Absolutely.
education key. This is something, man. And I'm mad I didn't take advantage of this back then, but I'm doing it now. Remember,
Well,
that
you
diploma,
weren't supposed to.
yeah, that diploma
We
may
all have a
be,
journey, right? So
yeah,
yours.
it may be the weakest paper once you go to
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's the strongest paper, because without that, you can't accomplish anything. You know, far as though, you know, in becoming a doctor or a lawyer, or, you
Right.
know, just different things, you know, of that nature. So just remember that, you know,
So thank
it can
you
be done.
very much,
Thank you for
Marlon.
having me.
It is Marlon Reid, everybody. The Diary of a Changed Man. Let me put it up so
Yes,
it's not upside down. Thank you very much.
yes, yes.
And
Great
thank
book.
you for being here this evening. We certainly enjoyed you, and the book is fabulous. Thank you very much for allowing
Thank you
me
for
to
having me.
read it. And when the lights go out and the cell phone towers go down, all you have left is a flashlight and a good book. Thank you, everybody, for being here this evening. And thank you for being on Zoom and on a fresh conversation. Good night. Good
Good
night,
night.
everybody.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Night.
Good night.
Night.